What's going on, sports fans? My name is Ryan Kostrowski. This is the DFS 5-Pack. We've already talked to NBA today, so we're going to talk about some Major League Baseball for the main slate on DraftKings tonight, the 6th of April. If you could do me a giant favor and slide that finger over to the thumbs up button, it is always appreciated. And let's try to get after it tonight. Coors Field's back in play tonight, so some of you love that, some of you hate that. It is what it is. We get that about half the slates out of the year, so we'll just run through that. And members only video available to paying customers. We did the first week. We did a bunch of those. We'll do a few of them throughout the year as well for everybody. But the format for the video this year is going to be, we're going to go through a starting pitcher, cash hitter, GPP hitter, cash hitter, GPP hitter, just so you get a general idea of what we're going to be talking about. We're trying to switch up the formula just a little bit this season. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Jazz Sports. For all of you sports bettors out there, I highly encourage you to give them a whirl. Make a deposit today. And for anybody who makes a big deposit, I'm talking $500 plus over at jazzsports.ag, screenshot it for me. And if you are a new customer and you use our promo code 5-Pack, I will give you a free year of services from the DFS 5-Pack. It's got to be a $500 plus deposit. You got to show me a screenshot of it so I know what happened. And you got to be a first-time customer over at Jazz and use our promo code, which is 5-Pack. Entered in the promotional code area just like that. Get yourself a free 5-Pack membership for 1 year. Let's go bet some sports. They got same-day payouts. They got several ways to deposit. Low rollover bonus, same-day payouts. Been in business for over 20 years. A lot to like with our good people over at jazzsports.ag. Also, monthly, weekly memberships available through the website. Weekly is new, so for those of you guys who used to do day passes, you get a full week now for only $15. All right, guys, subscribe to the station if you are new to it. And let's start out with today's pitching. Just like yesterday when we hit up the chalk, let's go right back there today. Let's check out Lucas Giolito of the Chicago White Sox, only $9,300 in Seattle tonight. That's a very affordable price tag for a pitcher of his caliber. He's a high strikeout guy going up against a high strikeout lineup. I know it's early in the season, but Seattle's already averaging 11 strikeouts per 9. I believe that is 5th highest in Major League Baseball. Really no reason to believe that's going to change at all. It's not a very potent lineup. They'll have some moments, and there's definitely going to be some days that we like to take guys from Seattle to be different in GPPs, but everybody knows their lineup is not one of the top lineups in baseball, not even close. It's a good pitcher park. He's a Cy Young candidate this year. He's going to be majorly popular. You can be different elsewhere if you want to be different. This is one where I'll ride chalk. I will definitely use him in cash. And probably use them in 2 of 3, if not all 3 GPPs tonight. Definitely 2 of 3. We'll see about the third one. I usually like to switch up my pitching just a little bit. Although yesterday, I mean, it just made sense to ride the chalk with DeGrom and Rodon all day long, unless you had the balls to pay up for Dustin May, who was fantastic. Some days, it might just make sense to ride chalk, and he could be a chalky guy you just play everywhere if you're interested. All right, let's talk about a cash hitter. So yesterday, we talked about Keston Hiura of the Milwaukee Brewers. And if you guys listened, I said I was going to ride him in cash, but I was very interested in the GPP fade of the entire Brewers lineup. Well, the second, I was wrong on the first part, right on the second part. I should have just stuck with the full fade. The only guy that did anything for Milwaukee was Omar Narvaez, the catcher, only 2,700. Expecting to be back in the middle of that lineup tonight. We got winds blowing out and warm weather in Wrigley today. We got a no-name pitcher going for the Cubs. Not saying that he's not decent. He's not a big name. He's not a guy you're scared of. I'll put it that way. Narvaez is only 2,700. I probably won't dabble with excuse me. I probably won't go too hard on the Brewers tonight, though, again. Having watched a lot of their games already this year because it's my team, they look awful. They just don't look good. I mean, they are way off. They're making guys like Trevor Williams, look like Bob Gibson, which just clearly isn't the case. Narvaez is my favorite of the Brewers today. He's the only guy that looks competent and confident at the plate right now. And at 2,700 as a chalky catcher in this price tag, I swear he's got half of the Brewers' hits on the season already. He's my favorite piece of the Milwaukee Brewers today. They're going to get some love today. Not nearly as much as yesterday because Coors Field is in play and the Blue Jays are going to get a little love and things like that. Guys like Hiura and Yelich and Colton Wong will probably get some attention today. And I understand that, but for me, this is by far my favorite Brewers play. He's really inexpensive, so he's low risk. And, other than the White Sox catcher who has to go up against James Paxton tonight, I understand why he's going to be a very, very popular catcher. All right, so speaking of those Blue Jays, one of my favorite GPP plays of the day is going to be Randall Grichuk of the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays stack is getting some love, but Grichuk is not. Coming in with single-digit ownership as a lower part of their lineup. He's playing for playing time. George Springer started the season on the IL. He'll be back in the not-too-distant future. Grichuk is playing for a spot in this lineup. The Blue Jays have a really good young crop of players, and Grichuk is a guy who may not be an everyday player once George Springer comes back into the fold. So he gets a weak Rangers pitching staff tonight. He's only 3,600, tearing the cover off the ball to start the year, 6 of 13 with 3 walks, seeing it very well, and a little extra motivated today, knowing that he's playing for playing time. So I am interested in Randall Grichuk. This guy can hit. He is no slouch at the plate. He could be a starting outfielder for a lot of Major League Baseball teams. All right, next up, let's move over back to a cash play, and let's talk about Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you guys remember how crazy chalky he was opening day? I think he was priced like 2,600, homered, and he's barely been on fire the entire season. It's early, so this won't continue all year, but to start the season, he's seen the ball really, really well. Batting .563, OPS almost 1,700 to start the year, averaging 16 DK points per day. You can see why he would be motivated. He was a young guy really coming into his own in 2019, had a terrible 2020 campaign as the Diamondbacks were just awful, and he was a big part of that. His price is way up there now compared to opening day, but this is more along the lines of what it should be. Good chance he'll be 5K tomorrow as they're playing in Coors Field. So expect him to be popular today. And I'm not really interested in just stacking the Diamondbacks against German Marquez. You guys know we're big Marquez fans, but this is, without question, my favorite piece of the Arizona Diamondbacks today. I like guys, and the next guy we're going to get to, and we'll go right back to where he came from next, is the same thing. A bum 2020 campaign, motivated to start the year hot, probably spent months in the offseason studying film, getting ready to get back at it, seeing the ball really well to start the year. And it doesn't hurt at all that Ketel Marte gets the benefit of playing in Coors Field tonight. So he is my favorite piece of the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, next up, we're going to go right back to the hand that fed us yesterday, which is JD Martinez. So yesterday, I had him at 7%, actually 6.8 to be exact, in my GPPs, and 3.8, I believe 2.7% to be exact in cash games yesterday. So he was very low owned. He's going to be lower owned today. And he's on my good side. He's the reason I had a profitable MLB day yesterday. So yes, he's clearly on my good side. But it's also the reason I watched all of his at-bats yesterday. He looks laser focused and locked in. I had watched 4 of his at-bats. I missed his out, so I don't actually know what happened. But he walked twice. Really good eye at the plate for both of those walks. Walks are a key indicator to me of a guy seeing the ball really well. If he's taking close pitches that are just outside the zone, and he was. He looked really confident at the plate. His single that he started with, a line drive off the top of the wall in center field that he hit so hard he couldn't even get to second base. That's not your mom and dad's single. That is a big boy hit. So he homered Sunday, homered yesterday, and the single he had was barely just missed a home run, hit it too hard and not enough loft on it. So he is absolutely locked in at the plate right now. This is another very motivated player, one of the better hitters in baseball for about a 4 or 5 year stretch right there, who just had a terrible 2020 campaign. So big reason why he won't get any love today. One, he's going up against a righty. Also, that righty in his own right is pretty darn good in Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow, however, will give up home runs. He is not impervious to it. He throws some high heat. Martinez is doing a good job early in the season getting on top of that. And he's had, albeit in a small sample size, some success off of Tyler Glasnow in his career. He's faced him 12 times. He's walked 3 times and he has 3 hits. It's not a monster sample size. It's not the reason we're using him. But he doesn't struggle against Glasnow. Like, this is one of those things where you're looking at the BVP. Like, I was already interested in Martinez, having watched a bunch of his at-bats the last couple of days, and just seeing him, like watching the Brewers, they can't hit anything right now. But watching Martinez, unless he's going up against Max Scherzer, I have a little interest in him right now. And I respect Tyler Glasnow. He's a good pitcher. But he's not a guy that I don't mind wanting off, a a guy who could potentially be an elite hitter again this year, especially knowing that he's currently projected for about 0.1% ownership. Right before we came on here, I got a YouTube comment on yesterday's video saying that, JD Martinez was, big for him yesterday. He was big for me yesterday, man. So, I got a soft spot for him today. Doesn't mean he was going to ball today, but I like a guy early in the season who's really seeing it well. And right now, Martinez has seen the ball really, really well. So I love the idea of going here, specifically in GPPs at very, very low ownership for a good hitter, too. This is not some scrub, right? Like, this guy was up there with, not quite Mike Trout levels, but, up there with the Francisco Lindors, Bryce Harpers, and Nolan Arenados of the world for the last couple of seasons prior to last year. Just had a bad year, but he looks good to start the season. That's what I got today, fellas. Best of luck. Let's talk again later.